Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I'm going to be telling you guys how you can basically bypass the new Cayo Perico Heist Nerf in Grand Theft Auto Online. So in case you guys missed it the other day, probably the most controversial thing that Rockstar did when they made an announcement of upcoming improvements to the GTA Online experience that are coming as a part of the Criminal Enterprises DLC in just a few short hours. The most controversial thing was definitely the fact that they nerfed the Cayo Perico heist, and this is what they had to say. They said, with this update, all heists will be aligned to have the same cooldown timer of one in-game day, which is 48 minutes, when playing as a group. We will also adjust specific aspects of the Cayo Perico heist finale to better balance a player's time spent in GTA Online. Solo playthroughs of the Cayo Perico heist finale will trigger a cooldown of 3 in-game days, and after stealing a high-value primary target in the Cayo Perico heist finale, the higher-value primary targets will appear less often for the next 72 hours, while the value of secondary targets will increase. This is intended to encourage exploration and cooperation between players. So when Rockstar made that announcement, people started freaking out because solo running the Cayo Perico heist is one of the most profitable things you can do in GTA Online. Now, looking at it from Rockstar's perspective, they don't want players to have a ton of easy money. That would defeat the purpose of them having shark cards. It would defeat the purpose of doing other things in game. And I think that's what they're also trying to balance. So many people just doing the Cayo Perico heist that they're not doing anything else, which is obviously not what they want. But this was so controversial that it even started trending on social media. You guys can see how many tweets involving the first part of it, Cayo, were trending. And a lot of that had to do with the changes made to the Cayo Perico heist finale. So what we're going to be looking at in this video today is actually how you can bypass the Cayo Perico nerf and not make it all that bad. Now, for starters, we should have seen this coming. In fact, I thought this nerf was going to happen with the Los Santos Summer Special, and we've been speculating that this is kind of going to be the case. And honestly, it could have been a whole lot worse. But there is a way in which you can bypass the entire thing, and all it does is require you to have a secondary character. So this comes from Rockstar Games insider Tez Funds 2, who said this: if you set up a second character to run Cayo Perico heist a second time after your first solo playthrough, you could make $2,427,840 within 2 hours. That's assuming you rob the tequila, the lowest primary target on both runs, and fill your loot bag with cash, the minimum value possible for RNG. If we are to assume you come across the pink diamond, the highest primary target excluding the panther statue on both runs, and fill your loot bag with cocaine, the minimum value possible too, you could make $3,482,000 in total. Of course, you would still have to grind for a Kosatka on your second character, but the people who would want to bypass the solo playthrough countdown would have the time to do that. And by the time you finish the heist on your second character, the cooldown for your first character should have elapsed, and you can continue the grind. If Rockstar allows you to do that with your second character, then the nerf isn't really bad, as some people like to overreact. So long story short here, even if you run solo and trigger the cooldown of 3 in-game days, if you have a secondary character and you're able to run the heist on both characters, which I'm assuming a good chunk of people that are watching this video have, you're going to make at a minimum $2,427,840 within 2 hours, or on the high end, close to $3.5 million in 2 hours. And I know what you have to do. You have to get your secondary character set up. But at this point in time, we're at like 10 years of GTA Online. A lot of you guys probably have secondary characters. And what's nice about that is the secondary characters of your bank accounts are connected. So if you make money on your secondary character, you can just transfer it over to your primary character. It's actually pretty simple. Now, there was more follow-up to this, as someone said, but if I remember correctly, those timers apply for each character individually, right? So technically, you could still play 2 Cayo heists back-to-back by using 2 characters. And he says, I believe so, but there's a imply H4 cooldown stat. Stats starting with imply are shared across both characters. However, this stat, for some reason, is used for the phone quick join cooldown. So currently, I do assume you can solo Cayo Perico heist back-to-back with 2 characters. If everything remains the same, with Rockstar just increasing the tunables value for the heist cooldown, then you should be able to run back-to-back after the update as well. So Fingers crossed for no changes here, but this should be a way in which you could basically bypass this entire thing, which would be so easy. Now, again, more follow-up to this. We're kind of just going to do a lot of question and answer here because there are still so many questions remaining about this. Someone said, so solo players will just have to wait 144 minutes just to purchase the next hard mode. Is that right? You got to stay on the game for an extra 2.5 hours just to ensure you get hard mode for the next Cayo Perico Heist. And TezFunds2 followed up by saying the cooldowns are triggered the moment you finish off a Cayo Perico Heist finale playthrough. When you go back to the city after the finale, the cooldown timers are ticking, even before you receive a message from Pavel. The basic cooldown is currently 10 minutes until you can scope again. During that, the grace period timer for the hard mode is ticking. So once the basic cooldown elapses, you're left with around 50 or 48 to start the heist with hard mode activated. With the new solo cooldown, the basic cooldown for them would be about 144 minutes, but the grace period for hard mode would likely remain active for an hour after the 144-minute cooldown. So we're getting an idea that this isn't as bad as it all kind of seems here. And then a quick follow-up to that statement was someone saying, wait 48 minutes to purchase, then you have a 1-hour grace period before it resets to normal mode. And he said this, but keep in mind, that's for playthroughs with groups. Solo playthroughs should take more. So again, you're still going to be punished if you are a solo player. If you do things in a group and all that would require is one other person, then you really aren't going to get hit all that hard by this. So I am hoping that the nerf isn't all that bad, and it certainly doesn't look so if you have a secondary character. Lots of follow-up, so let's keep going. Someone saying, would that mean that there is no hard mode for solo player if the heist cooldown is now 3 in-game days? And TezFunds2 said, just increase 1 hour after the heist cooldown to know how long hard mode will be active for solo playthroughs. And I know this is a little bit confusing, so he explained after someone asked, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the cooldown timer works. Do you have to be in-game for it to tick down, or is it in the background? And he said, rest assured, Rockstar came up with that stat for a reason. H4 cooldown and H4 cooldown hard. The game saves a timestamp at the exact time you finish the heist finale for both of these stats, and then checks if the POSIX timestamp exceeds the save value to allow you to replay the heist again. Basically, you can quit the game and come back after the cooldown to replay the heist. So the good news is you don't have to be in-game for the countdown to go down. Like, let's say you do a solo hard Cayo Perico Heist finale. You don't have to be in-game for 3 days. Just 3 days in real time has to elapse, and then you can ultimately do it again. So they're not going to force you to be in Grand Theft Auto Online while this is going on. That would obviously not go over very well, and I think a lot of players would be like, man, I'm just going to go AFK and spin around in a circle if that is the case. And hopefully, last but not least, Rockstar do this. It's something they also talked about on the Newswire. He said, I really hope the first-time payout boost work the same as the Panther statue for Cayo Perico Heist from the technical side, and not a stat that records your first playthrough of the mission to grant you the first-time bonus. But it's very much looking to be the latter. The Panther statue is more playthrough run-based, so if these payout boosts work the same, then Rockstar could grant single-use payout boost in the future events as well. I really hope so, because a lot of the first-time bonuses that Rockstar are giving out are insane. These are for the executives, bikers, gun runners, and nightclub owners, and then any cell mission you do, you're getting double the usual payout, 3 times the payout for some, double the research and production supply and stock production. So all of that is just insane, and I really do hope that Rockstar applies that to the heist as well. So that is basically how you can get around the Cayo Perico Heist nerf and everything you really need to know about it from the standpoint of how long you have to wait versus what target you get, whether you do it solo or with a group of friends, having to wait in-game versus just being AFK. I know there's a lot of questions. Hopefully that answered a lot of them right now. But I'd obviously love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. What are your opinions on the Cayo Perico Heist nerf? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's not fair? Somewhere in between. Let me know what you think in those comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Rockstar Games videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care. and I'll see you guys in the next video.